Buddy, how you doing? 'Tis I, back again to annoy you. We're going to start with some Jeff Beck tonight. Real good, nice and smooth. Going to go ahead and get this all worked out. Everybody knows who that is. But tonight, our topic's going to be the trumpet. You know, this issue of the last days and all the things that are going on have a lot to do with not so much all of the issues all at one time, but I'd have to say a lot of the issues with the prophecies and what the Bible dictates will happen. And the trumpet is one of those things that you probably don't understand, or it's gibberish again, but it's a warning. And from what I hear and see right now, I've got these. I was looking on the website on some things about the 7 trumpets and the phenomenon about the trumpet, and it seems as though there's some issues here. There's information about strange sounds around the world happening, and there's a computer game, part of New York Sounds, that heard outside playing, where this sound is happening like a lot of places. But I want to try to give everybody an understanding here. See, this trumpet thing, it's supposed to happen, and this is like the end of times. So when you hear this trumpet, it's extremely loud. I'll give you an example. My biggest issue is I'm going to be afraid that, you know, when this particular trumpet is sounded at the time, I won't be prepared when, you know, my master comes back, and, you know, those things. Those are big issues for me. So, but the real example I can give you of this particular sound is I saw this movie called Legion, and at this particular time there was an issue with some angels and things, and all of a sudden there was this big blare, and it was like brrr, like a big foghorn, but you can hear it. It shakes like your whole surroundings. So it's kind of different, and it's very distinctive. I can't imagine what it would be, because it's probably never happened before, you know, unless you were like back in the old days, and, you know, I think one of the prophets had stopped it from raining, and there was this big cloud burst after the rain. It was just, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, not being in that era, I don't understand. But I'm having the faith necessary to say that what's written is going to happen. So you kind of keep it like that, and that's where strength and this longing for you know, that greater power and that God and that what is written already is coming true. So if you look at it, you know, me personally, I try to achieve that goal every day, to where that during those times, you know, where you look around and you see, well, other people are doing some things, there's got to be things you got to be doing. I don't care if it's helping some old woman across the street. You know, there's got to be a situation to where each person has to look at each act. And we talked about this too, about making judgments and having, you know, those constant prayer type things, to where you're always thinking about the good, positive things that are going on in your life and for your children, and you're hoping and great things are going to happen for your neighbor, or, you know, that person that's sick down the street, or, you know, even widows, orphans, you know, foster care kids, things like that. Because again, that was the whole purpose of this specific exercise, was to have the many topics to say that, you know, people aren't boring, that things cannot be addressed each day or weekly, or, you know, where a focus can come in, where it's not so specific onto one person or one culture, to where, you know, you can be diverse and get all these things done. But by the time this particular issue happens, it's kind of over with. So that's why I kind of left this towards the end of all of these particular communications, simply because of the fact it has to be talked about. It has to be put forward. And it has to be put into a manner to where people can just say, okay, by talking about this, by having the conversation, you feel comfortable in communicating that, okay, I need questions answered in order for me to have more of that faith to say, well, okay, let me get my lamp and everything together, my oil, and, I'm going to help people all the way to the wedding, and then when that trumpet sounds, we're ready for the wedding and everything's ready to go. So you got to look at that as part of how you communicate and how you even prepare your own life in the future. Because it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Because as I've lived in this time, the one things that I do understand for sure are the biblical issues that my mom and grandmother had pointed out to me early in life. But now they're mine to hold and to believe and stand on, and also find that avenue of escape. Because right now, the turmoil and all the things that are going on, you create kind of your own future, like I said before. Everybody's doing it to a certain extent right now, by having the beliefs or not understanding. But one of the things you got to do is right now, like I said, I'm checking the internet because sounds like the world itself and these sounds that are being heard all around the world are happening in sporadic places. One here was, let me see if I crack this down right here. Yeah, actually, it says one of them was in Israel. Yeah, I can imagine. In the sky over Jerusalem. Phenomenon of trumpet sound in the sky over Jerusalem. It was October last year, 2016. There's one here that was actually supposedly a little bit more recent, and they had that down. I think it was earlier this year, around, I think it said, May 2017. Yes. No, March 28th, 2017. More of these sounds. Now, this is all a preparedness type thing. Because it's just like the old propaganda movies a long time ago when the war was out and, they wanted people to learn how to drop and roll. It wasn't just for fires. It was to get under the tables so the roof wouldn't collapse on you, stuff like that. But it's a matter of conditioning to hear, and I think that's what's going on. I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm communicating just like anybody else. I want these questions answered. If there's somebody that's going to stand definitively on this particular position and say, yeah, this is the reason why it's happening, to get people used to these type of actions and things. But I don't think that is mostly the case, because I don't think God does a preparedness drill, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure that don't happen, because for him it's like it was written, you didn't read it, oh well, not happening. They just ain't gonna make it. So as we move into this issue of this trumpet, we also got to look at it and say, are we going to be ready? Are we going to have the stand up, get down and do it type of situation to where we are ready when the master comes? I want to be, personally. So this is going to be very hard, but it's also going to be somewhat of a very good adventure, if you ask me. So you got to kind of look at it like that too. I'd say to where, if it gets to where this can't be understood or things can't understand, then you got to dig deeper and you got to get in and see what's really being said, because this particular return is really not too far away. I mean, I'm almost willing to say it would happen within my lifetime, because if this time goes the way it does, I probably got another 60 years at this. I don't know. Depends. Depends on how you want to look at it. Depends on how you want to favor that particular idea. I don't know. for me, it's just it's being prepared, being ready, like I said. So, if you look at this, and there's one other note here I wanted to make. I'm going to make this kind of easy. I did mention the issue about the movie. The movie was Legion, like I said. But if you look at this, it's also one of those situations where, in every instance, we've got to look at what messages are being sent out from nature and from the kingdom and from the other areas of prophecy that designate this type of action. This return and this trumpet is all part of this action and all part of the return. So I can understand why people are fearful, because now that time is coming, and I think everybody understands it, because it's getting closer and closer and closer, and people are feeling that pressure of, well, I'm going to have to be responsible now. That now that this particular issue is going to be to where you can't get around it, it's a responsibility thing. So everybody's going to have to be responsible. So we just have to look at this and say, okay, don't be anxious. You know, take the prayer, the supplication, you know, those types of things. Just be prepared. Don't make it a bad thing. Like, you know how it is when, in my neighborhood, it's like, all of a sudden, you know, you're standing on the corner or something, kicking it with your pot, and as the police roll around the corner, all these guys start running. I personally don't run. Why is it to run? I don't want to run. It's too late. And that's what I'm saying. You don't want to wait for the last minute, and then it's too late. The announcement's here, and then there's no telling between the time the trumpet is sounded and then the actual wedding time, because from what I understand, there's a whole lot of stuff going on after the trumpet sounds, because by that time everybody knows. Yeah, it's too late. So, be prepared. Understand the issues that are part of this particular. You really can't call it an event, because it's pretty much the last thing some people will hear. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's people just, you know, mass suicides or something. I don't know. But think about it, because we've heard it, we've talked about it. It's kind of like death to a certain extent for those that have the faith. Death is inevitable for everybody, because nobody gets out alive. But the issue that we're dealing with now is the fact that how prepared are we going to be in order for us to say, I believe that there was a higher being that had created us, and we just didn't evolve out of being creatures from swinging in bushes and well, there's a lot of people going back to that now. But what we need to look at is, will we be prepared? Are we going to have the understanding? And I think the wherefore to go forward and to continue to stand. You know what I mean? Because right now, man, there's all type of things going on. Pretty soon, this internet and all these other things are going to be all jacked up. You won't get no more information. Education's going to be bad. I've been hearing now that there's problems with the power grid. I'm just saying this simply because it's kind of funny that things are breaking down at these critical times. Think about it. It's kind of strange, but it's kind of weird too. I mean, you got to say, well, wait a minute. Where's the smooth out of this? How do we get an abundant life out of all this chaos? I don't know. It's kind of like this right here. I end with this. Have you checked this out? Jeff Beck. Guy's good, man. This is talent. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this like the trumpet and gifts. It's so surreal to a certain extent that the end and even the time in between, because you look at it and you go, wow, I've never heard this before. Well, I have. I'm not just saying this. But what about people that have never heard, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just, it's amazing that we have these many things here, and that the majority of us don't understand and are very, very, very afraid. I really feel for everybody at this point, because just like the end of this year and the 59 topics that we've already gone through, this is the 59th. Think about it. Think of what can and can be done. But in my instance, I don't have those opportunities. But for these 59, 60, or 48, 49, whatever, I'm trying to keep it real. I want to keep it real because I'm thankful. And I've been blessed to have this opportunity. So I want to say thank you. God bless. And everybody, understand, life is great. Bless.